Hi everyone, this is Frank Rotz, and welcome back to another rigging video. Today we're going to talk about something that I actually sent in for a Midwest Outdoor article, which is bass scents. Now we're talking senses and smell, not senses and their senses. When bass fishermen first start getting into the game, I've been asked, I don't know, 100 times plus, what is the best scent to use for largemouth? And it is kind of a complicated subject, and you would think it would be relatively easy. One of the reasons for it is there's very few studies that have actually been done that claim that they can prove that a certain scent works better than any other. The first one, which was actually done by Berkley Power Bait, this is the first big one that was on the market, and there was one called Strike before that, but this Berkley Power Bait was designed by someone who had a PhD in something scientific for bass. I can't remember the exact way it worked, but in a nutshell, this person claimed that they developed something with Berkley, that they developed an amino acid in the power bait that made the fish crunch it and hold on for a longer duration. If that's true or not, it's kind of hard to tell. And that was later followed by Gulp, which dispersed into the water to draw fish in. I do know that on the flip side of recommending a scent, there is no such thing as a magic scent or one scent on the market that I don't believe is better than any other throughout all conditions. When we talk about largemouth bass smell, we have to keep a few things in mind. Number one is a lot of other game fish have more profound scent organs than largemouth. Fish you wouldn't think about. Walleye have much better sense of smell than largemouth, and trout and salmon, and obviously catfish. So as far as game fish go on the spectrum, a bass's level of scent is kind of in the middle low range. Their lateral line in their sight definitely accounts for a lot more of their feeding. The flip side to scent that manufacturers always claim that you need to use the best one or they're the best one is that bigger bass have much more developed scent organs. So the theory being it's that much more developed. The reality of the situation from all the research I've done is that their scent organs are not that much better than a younger fish's. But when you factor in that they're a more advanced predator, that with everything else is a justification to use a scent. So what I know about scents is this. From personal experience, number one, Baitmate, this was one of the first ones that I used on the market, and I don't know, it seems to work really well. I use it more so for my plastics that are older, that are dried out, to squirt that in there, but it definitely doesn't hurt. It just says that it has pheromones and scale fleck in it, and it's economical, and a bottle is pretty concentrated. A bottle will last you a long time. So that's the Baitmate original, and that has caught me quite a few fish. Probably most importantly is garlic and salt. This is the most common on the market, and I guess it sounds good to people. It's a good marketing thing, garlic and salt. But to be honest with you, on the real fish catching side, my biggest largemouth was caught on a garlic salt bait. My biggest crappie, maybe ever, but definitely on a soft plastic, was caught on garlic and salt. And again, this is the Baitmate, and it works really well. It's inexpensive. And the power bait I mentioned is a good one. I caught my first big bass on it. So scent obviously is important, right? If I've caught my biggest crappie on a soft plastic and biggest largemouth on that, then scent must play a role, we would think, but it's sort of hard to say. I'm a firm believer in that every lure pretty much out there now, or soft plastic I should say, has scent in it, which lends me to think that maybe using unscented or something with a lighter scent could play a key role in catching fish. But the number one thing we need to keep in mind is finding them. Fish location is always the number one thing. And then you're going to have your depth and your lure speed control and your color, and your scent is going to be your very last thing of all those considerations. And I don't know if I got it exactly right in that order. I try to memorize that, but when you're fishing for bass, those are the key points, and I'll run them through one time. Obviously, we need to find the fish, but location, and then, you know, your depth, and then your lure speed control, and then your color, and then your scent is going to be last. But for those of you who are newer to bass fishing, we're apt to grab lots of scents. There's lots of them on the market, and there's so many. Wave worm has something called Malapo or Mopolo. I've caught a lot of big bass with that. Or what's in O-bait, or what's in UV. I've had a lot of success with those. I've had a lot of success with what's in Zoom as well, and Yum. So those all claim to be scented. But a lot of those baits are old, or I've had older Cabela's baits. There's not a lot of scent in them, but there is some. So it's a pretty interesting debate. A veteran smallmouth angler I know swears by the most concentrated, expensive cross scent that you can use, and swears by it on worms. And would argue with me when I would say it's not playing that much of a role. You know how to fish, and you're using a good piece of plastic. But in any event, it's an interesting topic. If you have any feedback to add, feel free to comment below. I've had a lot of fun doing 2 rigging videos per week. It's a pretty broad, open topic, I think, to cover. And I've had a lot of fun. And as I've mentioned before in the past videos, the main reason I'm doing 2 videos a week is there's a GoFundMe page with a link below for some medical bills that occurred over a period of time with my father for that. So I figured I'd bump up my game and do 2 videos a week instead of 1. But in a nutshell, like I said, give the bait mate at least a try. At least in your dried up plastics. You can salvage some plastics if you find some older plastics that have been sitting on a shelf that are discounted. You don't find them quite so much now as you did back in the day. But like I said, scent's a really interesting thing. It really started getting big when I got into bass fishing. I mean, they were really advertising power bait. Power bait was the big plastic. And the new one that they have out, I believe, is called Max. And the new power bait formula is supposed to have the best of Gulp and the best of power bait in one formula. Power bait Max, I believe it's called. But they've had other ones out before called Select, and Select worked better, and I don't know if it was because the lure was different. Select worked better than the regular power bait, and they quit making Select. And it did make me want to cry because it was a great numbers producer. But long story short, thumbs up, and if you could do that, and everyone that's been subbing, I've gotten a lot of views, and I can see those view minutes, and I really do appreciate that. And going into the 3rd year of YouTube, and getting a solid start, and just need to get on those fish. I guess finally I could give a shout out to Southside Fishing. Informed me, and that's exactly how it sounds, Southside, 2 separate words, fishing, that they were fishing Braidwood Lake, which is a cooling lake in Illinois, and famous YouTube angler John B commented on that. So I work with Nick, and he was pretty happy and for that comment, and he has a good reason to be. But other than that, stay tuned with the channel. I've got some stuff outlined for an update video after we do the rigging, and be talking about exactly what the future is going to hold for the channel. And the minutes are climbing and the subs are growing slowly. And I really do appreciate every single click I get, every single view, and every single comment. It means a great deal. You know, if I get 10 people that leave a comment, then that's fine by me, and I get a few more views and thumbs up and things like that. Thank you for stopping by, and looking forward to getting out there in a couple weeks, and hopefully a few positive surprises for the channel. And we'll stick together. You watch my videos, I watch yours. Thanks for all that you do. Take care.